Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to our integrated studies class. Topic, my family. Subtopic, grandparents. Objectives. Today you will identify and give definition for the word grandfather. You will make a grandfather book. You will read about Zoe's grandfather and you will learn about interviews. All right. So on my screen, I have the word grandparents. I also have the picture of a grandfather and a grandmother along with their granddaughter. So just who are grandparents? Well, grandparents are your mother and your father's parents. So your grandparents are your mother and your father's grandparents. So my mother's mother and father are my grandparents. Grandfather, grandfather. So this at the top is the word grandfather. I also have the picture of a grandfather. Now your grandfather is your mother or your father's father. Your grandfather is your mother or your father's father. So my grandfather is my mother's father and my father's father, right? All right, so let's create a grandfather book. So what you need is a clean sheet of paper. The first thing you're going to do, you're going to write the word grandpa. Or if you wish, you could write out the entire word grandfather. Then you're going to draw a picture of yourself and your grandfather. Next, you're going to write his name is, and whatever his name is, you're going to write it. He is blank years old. So you're going to write his age. He and I like to blank together. So you're going to write something that you like to do with your grandfather. My grandpa makes me giggle when he blanks. So whatever it is that grandpa does that makes you laugh, you're going to write it. When he was my age, he liked to. So you're going to think about something that you think grandpa liked to do when he was your age. And then you're going to write it. My grandpa is so good at. So whatever you think grandpa is good at, you're going to write it right here. So maybe grandpa is good at reading books. Maybe he's good at playing cricket. Maybe he's good at riding horses or planting peas. Whatever it is that grandpa is good at, you're going to write it. Then finally, you're going to write, love my grandpa. Who loves grandpa? I love my grandpa. All right. How to learn more about your grandparents or your grandfather? You can find out about your grandparents by asking them questions about themselves. This is called an interview. So you can find out about your grandparents by asking them questions about themselves. So when you ask somebody questions, it's called an interview. So an interview is really asking questions. How to conduct an interview. First, you need to write down all the questions that you want to know about. Next, you're going to ask the person you wish to know about politely. Then finally, you're going to write the answers that the person gives. All right. So this activity can be found in your integrated studies book, My Family and My Home, page 35. Now, Zoe Ball wants to find out more about her paternal grandparents. Zoe's paternal grandparents are her father's parents. She decided to interview her grandfather. So right here, we learned that Zoe's paternal grandparents are her father's parents, right? Her paternal grandparents, they are her father's parents. And she wants to know more about them, right? So she decided to interview her grandfather. Now, this is a sample of Zoe's interview. Right here, Zoe said, "Hi, Grandpa. What is your full name? When is your birthday?" Grandpa answered, "My full name is Tony Rohan Ball. My birthday is June 10." Then Zoe asked, "Where were you born?" Grandpa said, "I was born in Cuba." Then Zoe said, "Why did you come to Jamaica? When did you leave Cuba?" Grandpa said, "I left Cuba in August 1953 because of the revolution." Now Zoe said, "Where did you meet Grandma?" Grandpa said, "I met her in Portland, right here in Jamaica." All right, so over on page 36 now. A, you're going to tell two things you learned about Zoe's grandfather. So you're going to list two things that you learned about Zoe's grandfather. You learned his full name is Tony Rohan Ball. He also told us his birthday, June 10. He told us that he came from Cuba and he left Cuba in 1953. So there are so many things that Grandpa said right here. So you can name any two. Then B, what did you find out about Zoe's grandmother? All right. What did we find out? We found out that did grandfather meet her in Cuba or did he meet her in Portland, right here in Jamaica? Is it in Cuba or Jamaica? You decide and you write the correct answer. All right, next on page 36. On page 36, right? Number 3, read each sentence in the table. If you learned that information from the interview, shade the circle under true. That's this circle. If you did not learn it from the interview, shade the circle under false. So, sentence 1, Grandpa Ball was born in Cuba. Is it true or false? Shade the correct circle. Grandma Ball was born in Cuba. Is it true or false? So you shade the correct circle. Grandpa Ball left Cuba in 1953. True or false? So you shade the correct circle. Zoe is Grandpa Ball's only grandchild. True or false? So you shade the correct circle. All right, so on page 37, you're going to make a list of the questions that Zoe asked her grandfather. Right here, you're going to write down all the questions that Zoe asked her grandfather. Then you're going to tick the questions from Zoe's list that you would like to ask your grandfather or grandmother. Next, number 3, you're going to write 3 other questions that you would like to ask any of your grandparents. Then, finally, you are going to call either your grandmother or your grandfather and you're going to conduct your interview asking them the questions.